Welcome to the deep dive. If you've ever finished a massive creative project, a novel, maybe a business book, a screenplay, and you're just staring at that final document thinking, okay, now what? Well, this deep dive is definitely for you.
Yeah, we've got quite a stack of research here. It's basically a professional writer's checklist and mindset guide all rolled into one. It covers everything, really, from that finished draft right through to, well, the scary bits publication and handling reviews.
Right. So our mission today is to pull out those essential mindset shifts, the crucial checks you have to make and the professional steps you just can't skip. How to turn a manuscript that's just done into something that's genuinely ready for success.
Exactly. And maybe to set the stage, let's kick off with a concept from the material. Our word this week is fungible.
Ah, fungible. It's a good one. It's interchangeable, right?
Right.
Or easily replaced by something similar of equal value.
Precisely, like the sources say. Cash is fungible. One $20 bill is the same as another. But bank tellers, they're not fungible. That person has specific knowledge, skills. They're not interchangeable.
Okay, so the lesson is your unique voice, your story, your specific take on things, that isn't fungible. And that's why this whole process we're discussing is so important. Refining that irreplaceable thing until it's ready for the professional world.
That's it. And the big question is, how do you make that shift? From just being creative to being, well, professional about it. And how do you know when your work is actually ready? The mindset piece is often the first hurdle.
The research actually starts with a really powerful story about that, long-term dedication.
Yeah.
It's about Marie Curie and her sister Branya.
Yeah, it's fascinating. They both dreamed of higher education, but no money. So they made this pact. Marie worked as a governess for 5 years, to pay for Branya's medical studies in Paris.
Wow.
Then, once Branya was a doctor, she supported Marie's studies at the Sorbonne.
That's some serious delayed gratification. And Curie, who won 2 Nobel Prizes, she said something like, a great discovery doesn't just pop out fully formed.
It is the fruit of an accumulation of preliminary work. That's the quote.
Right.
And that's the core idea here. All that reading, writing, thinking you do today, even when it feels like you're getting nowhere, that is the preliminary work. It's like a gift you're giving your future published self.
That focus on the work itself. It reminds me of the advice from comedians like Chris Rock. He apparently talked to a young comedian who wasn't getting booked.
Yeah, Rock asked him, so what do you do all day? Are you writing new jokes, working on your act, talking to bookers? And the young guy basically said he just waited.
Ouch.
And Rock's response was blunt. In comedy, we make the money during the day. The performance is just the end result. The real job is the daily grind of creating and preparing.
And Jared Carmichael apparently made a similar point, didn't he? Criticizing people who focus too much on the surface stuff.
Exactly. Perfect websites, fancy business cards, amazing headshots. They polish the packaging before the product is even ready. They're focusing on the wrong things.
So for writers, the takeaway is success often builds from doing smaller things first. Articles, maybe columns, things that build a reputation.
That's what the material suggests. Your first novel might be years in the making, but getting known for being, fast, dependable, good with smaller pieces first, that builds your professional chops.
Okay, so mindset, check.
Right.
We've done our 5 years of preliminary work, metaphorically speaking. Now let's get practical, the checklist. How do we know if this manuscript is really ready?
Well, first hurdle, especially if you're self-publishing, is timing. You got to think seasonal.
Seasonally, like Christmas books.
Yeah, exactly. Devotionals, kids' books, they often launch in the fall for the Christmas market. Beach reads, you want those out in the spring. Traditional publishers handle this, but if you're doing it yourself, you need a plan.
And there's a warning in the research about rushing, right?
Yeah.
Especially with self-publishing.
Oh, definitely. People often self-publish because they're impatient, which honestly often leads to a messy launch. The advice is pretty stark.
Yeah.
If it took you a year to write it, give yourself a year to sell it properly. Plan the launch.
Okay, so no rushing. Then revision. Writing is rewriting. We hear that all the time. But the source material highlights one crucial step.
Yes. You absolutely must listen to your book, get your computer to read it aloud, your ears will catch things, your eyes just skim over, awkward phrasing, repeated words, pacing issues.
Stuff your eyes automatically fix because you know what it's supposed to say.
Exactly. Your eyes lie to you, your ears don't. It's a game changer for catching errors.
Fantastic tip. Okay, so we listen, we revise. Then we need other people, beta readers, critique partners. The advice here is about finding the right people.
Yes, know your ideal reader first. Is it someone who loves Christian fiction, cozy mysteries, sci-fi epics? Get feedback from that group, not just your friends or family, unless they are your ideal reader.
Which leads us straight into editing, professional editing. The sources break it down into different types, which aren't the same thing at all.
Right. You've got substantive editing, copy editing, and proofreading. They're distinct stages.
Okay, break that down. Substantive editing is...
That's the big picture, the blueprint. Does the story work? Is the nonfiction organized logically? Does it deliver on its promise, character arcs, pacing, overall structure? That's substantive.
in copy editing.
That's more line by line. Clarity, grammar, consistency in style and facts, making sure the sentences actually flow well.
And proofreading is just the final typo hunt.
Pretty much. The last safety net before it goes public.
There's a great story in the material that illustrates the value of that substantive edit, the sniffing grandpa.
Ah, yes. Okay, so the author wrote a scene. Boy loses his jacket down a well. Later, Grandpa gives it back, all clean. And the author mentions Grandpa is sniffing. The editor just wrote in the margin, how did Grandpa get the jacket?
And the author's reaction was,
Annoyance at first, thinking, isn't it obvious? He went down the well, that's why he has a cold, hence the sniffing.
but the editor had a point.
A major point. The author was too close. She assumed the reader would connect sniffing to went down a dangerous well to retrieve a jacket, but she hadn't actually shown it. You have to put the facts on the page. Don't make the reader guess crucial plot point.
That makes the 95% rule make so much more sense. When you get that kind of feedback from a pro editor, what's the advice on handling it emotionally?
Trust a professional. Look, you will feel defensive. It's your baby. But you got to get over it. The rule of thumb is accept 95% of their suggestions.
Only push back on 5%.
Yeah, and only if you have a doggone good reason, as the source puts it. And that reason needs to be about protecting the core meaning or theme, not just, your ego. The critique is about the work, remember? The work is fungible in this sense. It can be changed and improved.
Okay, crucial clarification though. If you're aiming for a traditional publisher, do not hire your own editor first. Is that a hard rule?
It really is, for traditional submissions. The acquiring editor wants to see your voice, your manuscript. They have their own trusted editors they'll assign and pay for. Sending in something already edited by someone else can actually work against you.
Signals you don't know the process.
Right. Or that you're trying to bypass their judgment. So only hire an editor if you're definitely self-publishing.
Got it. Okay, creative side wrestled with, editing understood. Now, the pivot to the business side. Money. Publishers, query letters. Let's start with vetting offers. How do you spot a legitimate traditional publisher?
It's actually very simple. The big rule. Traditional publishers do not ask writers for money, for anything, ever. They pay you in advance royalties. They cover editing, design, distribution, marketing. They take the financial risk.
So if any publisher asks you to pay for editing or design or a marketing package,
then they're not a traditional publisher. They're either a vanity press or a hybrid publisher.
what's the difference and why does the source material basically say avoid both?
Well, vanity presses are basically just printing services, charging high fees, often with little quality control. Hybrids are a bit more complex. Some offer decent services, but the key is they shift the financial risk to the author. You pay them.
So the argument is,
If you're going to pay anyway, you might as well self-publish properly. Hire your own editor, your own designer, keep 100% control, and keep all the profits. Why pay a hybrid for services you could manage yourself and give them a cut?
makes sense. Okay, so you want to query a traditional publisher or an agent. The query letter, I hear they need to be short. How short?
Brutally short. One page, max. Seriously, if it goes on to page 2, it's likely getting tossed. They're incredibly busy.
Wow. Okay, one page. What absolutely has to be on it?
It's a tight structure. Paragraph 1, intro the project. Title, genre, word count, and the hook. Why this book? Why now? What's compelling about it?
Paragraph 2.
Your platform, briefly. Writing experience, any previous publications, maybe relevant social media presence if it's significant. Basically, why you are the person to write this book and help sell it. Keep it professional.
And you offer to send.
A proposal first, especially for nonfiction. Or maybe sample chapters for fiction. Not the whole manuscript unless they specifically ask for it later.
Right, let them ask. Control the flow of submissions on their end.
Exactly. Don't just dump 100,000 words on them unsolicited.
While we're on these technical points, let's quickly touch on titles and copyright. Lots of anxiety there for new writers, it seems.
Yeah, and it's mostly unnecessary anxiety. Fact is, titles are not copyrighted.
Really? So if my book has the same title as another one...
Nothing happens, it's fine. The author in the source material published a book called Rescued Heart, The Story of Sarah, and found, 10 other rescued harp variations already out there. The content is unique and copyrighted, not a title itself.
That must be a huge relief for people agonizing over finding a unique title.
It should be. Focus on the book, not a title someone else might have used.
Okay, let's jump ahead. The book is out. Now come the reader reviews. How do we handle that emotional roller coaster?
Deep breaths. Develop thick skin fast. Because, yeah, one mean review can overshadow 50 glowing ones in your head. The advice is to categorize them.
Categorize how?
Basically, 2 piles. Pile 1, constructive criticism, things you could actually fix or learn from for the next book. Maybe they point out a plot hole you missed.
Okay, useful, even if it stings. And pile 2.
Pile 2 is feedback from people who just aren't your target audience or have a random pet peeve like, I hate first-person POV, or not enough dragons. If your book wasn't meant for them, you just ignore it. Easier said than done, I know.
Right. But what about really nasty stuff, personal attacks? Especially if the topic is sensitive.
Yeah, that's tough. The sources suggest 2 main tactics. 1, just delete it, don't engage, protect your mental health.
And the second?
If you feel you must respond, do it calmly and often with a question that puts the onus back on them. Like, did you pray before sending this? Or maybe, have you actually read the whole book? It forces a moment of self-reflection on their part, potentially. It takes real discipline, though.
Professional maturity right there. Okay, let's shift to the launch itself. The sources offer a neat list of what readers actually want from a novel. That seems key to any launch strategy.
Absolutely. If the book doesn't deliver, the launch won't matter. Readers want, emotional connection, engaging story, good pacing, characters who feel real, complex, maybe some intellectual stimulation like the ideas in Dune.
Satisfying endings.
Yes. Earned endings, even if sad, need a glimmer of hope. And for genres like fantasy or sci-fi, that immersive world building is critical.
So keeping that in mind, the actual launch plan, the lists provided in the source look, well, daunting. 6 weeks out, launch week, post-launch.
They are dizzying. The key thing the material stresses, these are suggestions, not commandments. You can't do everything. Pick a few high-impact things that fit your book and your resources.
Like what? What seems to work well?
Things like using NetGalley or BookBub for early reviews can be very effective. Targeted email campaigns to your list, maybe a well-timed price promotion. It's better to do 1 or 2 things well than 10 things badly.
The author of the source material even admits they don't do formal launch teams anymore, right?
Yeah, finds them too complicated. Instead, they just offer maybe 50 free copies on Facebook to people who promise to leave an online review. Simple, direct.
Keeps it manageable. But the bottom line, always.
The book itself has to be great. All the marketing buzz in the world can't save a mediocre book. The book is the important thing, always.
What a journey. From the Marie Curie mindset of dedication, through the nuts and bolts of editing with that 95% rule, to navigating the business side.
It's a lot. Which brings us nicely to our final concept from the research. Parochial.
Parochial, meaning sort of limited in scope, provincial.
Exactly. It comes from parish, like limited to your local area or viewpoint. In writing, you generally want to avoid being parochial. You want your work to have broader resonance.
Okay, avoiding the parochial view. And how does that connect to our final thought for the listener?
Well, it connects via this great little story about Steve Martin, actually. After he quit stand-up, he tried songwriting, but apparently his lyrics just weren't working. He wasn't connecting.
So what did he do?
He started writing, just for fun, what he called bad poetry, just messing around. But then he looked at this pile of bad poetry.
And had an idea.
Yeah. He realized, hang on, this stuff might not be great poetry, but it could make for some pretty decent country or bluegrass lyrics. He completely recast the material, changed the genre, the format.
And it worked.
It won him a Grammy for Best Bluegrass Album.
Wow. Okay, so the final thought for you, the listener, is if you're stuck on a project, a novel that's fighting you, an idea that won't gel,
maybe stop forcing it in its current form. Ask yourself, how could I recast this as something else? Could this chapter be a short story? Could this nonfiction idea work better as a series of articles? Could this serious drama actually be funny?
change the lens, change the format. Don't just push harder, maybe push differently.
Exactly. It's something to think about. The solution might be transformation, not just perseverance.
A brilliant way to wrap things up. Thanks so much for sharing all this from the source material today.